Well, welcome and thank you, James. Thank you for being here again today. It's absolutely pleasure to have you here again.
It's a pleasure being here again.
And we're going to talk about a topic that's really powerful because I know there's so many people that you've been around the world, around the globe just last year and the last couple of months, about 3-4 times. Our team is huge. It's beautiful. I talk to people all around the world, and the same question always pops up. When I go and talk to somebody, they tell me how bad network marketing is. Well, why am I in network marketing? Tammy and I have been in network marketing. I grew up in network marketing. Tammy's been in network marketing with me for over 5 years now. We love the profession. It's something that we absolutely treasure. But why is it that people are so turned off by network marketing?
So I think you probably can answer this as well as me, maybe even better. But from my perspective, I think it starts with it wasn't always that way. Right. There's something natural about it. There's something very natural and organic. It is the most genuinely authentic and appropriate way to earn money on the planet. In my opinion, there's nothing more organic and honest and right. If you're not helping people, you're not being helped. If you're not blessing people, you're not being blessed. If you're not serving greatly, you don't deserve. And there's something about I help people and people help people and we make the world a better place. There's something so pure about the multi-level marketing, network marketing, direct selling industry. So let's start with there was nothing bad a while ago. Right. People weren't running away or feeling uncomfortable a while ago. So how has this industry earned a reputation that has now created that kind of a thing? And how can we as individuals help make the difference? Does that make sense? So I think it's important to start with it is pure gold, it is right, it is wonderful. And so I think if we start with this is a beautiful industry that should be the most trusted, respected industry in the world, and people should not be nervous about it. I think if we start with that, then we can say, how did we get here? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
So then how do we get here? So there's all kinds of things. Some of the stories, if someone gets into a business, and this is this, I'm going to give a sad one, then I'll let you go if that's okay. I'll give one and you can give one. So in my opinion, when I try and help people, and to your point, I've circled the globe 7 times actually in the last 2 years. So I get to share the stage with all kinds of cool people and do all kinds of cool stuff. But here's the funny thing. If people are not enjoying the results in their lives that they desire, they have a tendency to look out the window to see why that is, rather than in the mirror. In Jim Collins' work, Built to Last or Good to Great, one of those 2 books, I love them both. In one of those 2 books, they identified a principle called the mirror in the window, and they said leadership. They were talking about leadership at the time. Leadership is a simple matter of give and take. Good leaders take the responsibility. They look in the mirror for responsibility. They look out the window to give credit.
Right.
But most, or in fact, all non-successful leaders do the exact opposite. They look in the mirror to take all the credit, and they look out the window to give all the blame. And if people have gotten into a network marketing business before, and if they didn't get the results they desire, some of us are aware of this, they don't necessarily walk away with, that was a perfect industry, and I as a person sucked in my behavior. Yeah. Normally they say it's their fault. Everyone who's broken up, every relationship, is it because of you or is it the other person? We almost always think it's the other person. So if we have a number of people who have come into this industry and they did not succeed, quote unquote, in their own definition of success, they're probably not going to blame themselves for the most part.
Yep.
And I'm overgeneralizing, but when there's an ocean of people saying it's not my fault in life, they tried something and it didn't work, they're probably not going to point at themselves. On average, people have a tendency to point the blame somewhere else. Therefore, someone will say, oh, I got into this multi-level marketing, it didn't work. And the other person is going to say, yeah, me too. And then they build on each other rather than say, what could you have done better? They're both saying, it wasn't our fault. Let's support each other in our own victimization rather than saying, what could I do better as a human being? And so I think that's a major part of how the storyline has gone. That's just first thought off the top of my head.
But it is very true. You know, nobody likes to take the blame. I mean, we could look back at our own past. I know I'm guilty of it. Is that take a look at something that, it wasn't my fault, right? It wasn't my fault. Well, why didn't you pick up the phone? Why didn't you talk? Why didn't you share? Why weren't you not an intervention into somebody's life because that person needed it? And it's so true. But here's something that I really find fascinating, and maybe you can just clarify that as well, because you've been around the world 7 times, is that it doesn't matter who I'm talking to around the world, it's always better somewhere else.
Yes.
It's always. I was just talking to a person in Belgium yesterday, actually, and he was telling me the story about how it's so great network marketing is in the United States.
Yes.
And then I'm talking to somebody in the United States.
Yes.
And they're telling me how great it is over in Europe, or how great it is in South Africa, or in Asia, you know? But everybody is like bouncing it around. They're saying, it's great over there, it's great over there. Just a news break for everyone. It's the same pretty much everywhere. Would you agree with that?
Well, it is, or if it's different, it's only different to one degree, and it's different in another degree on the other hand. It's like we got what we got. We're supposed to be, and yes, it's so common, painfully common.
It is painfully common, and that's why don't worry about the success or the failure. Look upon yourself and say, I can make the change.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and I can be where I am today.
Yes.
Because today is where you are, and you're in the right place today, right? You've taken a path, and you're here today. You joined one of the most amazing industries in the world.
Yes.
It is probably the fastest path to financial freedom.
Amen.
Unless you get a penny stock and you're able to throw millions of dollars in a penny stock and it blows up.
If you got one, let me know.
I'll let you know. And if you guys know one, let us know. But the truth is just focus on yourself. Focus on your personal development. Take responsibility for yourself. In this industry, it's all about you. Use the skills, grow the skills, and be able to be that great success. Because if you are and you take responsibility for yourself, success will come. But you have to follow the steps.
Yeah, and we went down a very interesting line with this conversation, and it provoked something else in me. As a motivational speaker, right, this is what I do. It's one of my roles as a speaker. But in the motivational speaker field, you're probably accustomed, and probably everyone here is accustomed to the speaker saying, let me tell you about my tragic beginnings. Let me tell you about my downfall. Let me tell you about when this went wrong. And they tell some horrible story and you think, oh my gosh. And then they say, but I've come back. And then people say, wow, if they can do it, I can do it. And it's one of the things that this industry really thrives on. Well, I've got one of those stories. So I was telling some of my grief and horrible stories. So I was telling someone how I came from a troubled home, and I'm not going to get into that. But also I have ADHD, and so I couldn't read till I was 21 years old, and I've been blessed with this life journey. But I didn't start out destined for success, right? So I tell someone I came from a tragic childhood story, and I have ADHD, and it's sad, right? I'm trying to be serious right now, but what was funny is they came up, they said, "You're so lucky," and I said, "What?" They said, "Well, it's so lucky you had that background. Now you have a story." What? Like, they think it's good because it turned out okay. Your story is great if it turns out okay, so make it turn out okay. Sure. It's not, it's not fair. Nothing's fair. Nothing's fair. Life isn't fair, and it's tough, and there's no free lunch. But if you will do what it takes, if you'll develop yourself, take those opportunities, you're where you're supposed to be, that's because you're there, and you make the most of that opportunity, make the most of everything called a strength and a weakness and a uniqueness, and we have a down economy, an up economy, whatever it is, use the truth. And work with truth and have that outrageous success. And everyone say, "Oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. You lost your arm and your ear and your eye and your head and your like." Oh my gosh! And people will call you lucky no matter how it plays out, as long as you make it work for you. And so every story is the right story. And what you want to do is just own it and say, "How do I turn this into a success story?" And then people get to enjoy the fruits of their labor. And then everyone will call you lucky.
That's right. Thank you so much, James. And remember to take a look at Verbal Aikido for ultimate networking success to be able to build all those skills.